Hello, beautiful seekers. Welcome back to the Existential Shift. Thank you so much for joining me. This will be a CROSSWATCHERS for Aries reading. So if you're dealing with an Aries, this is your place, or if you just want to hang out, this is your place. But Aries seekers, technically this reading is not for you for a reason. Because it's for people who are dealing with you, some shade might come up, right? And not so positive, virtuous things. So your reading is linked below in the description box. You have your general reading already set for the month. And feel free to watch that. If you choose to stay Aries, that's on you. Okay, so regardless, all seekers, I also created a love extended for Aries and their person of interest. You'd be the person of interest, so it applies both for Aries and those of you who are dealing with one. And that reading is also linked below. Okay. Thank you for joining. Feel free to say hi and let me know what your sign is and where you are from. I'll be happy to read you either during or after. Okay. I want to start with a general message for everyone for the day, for whenever you're tuning in. Okay. So before we go on to the love reading between CrossWatchers and their Aries, what's going on with everyone? General message for today. The moon is in Sagittarius today, and Jupiter just entered Aries. Instincts, emotions, desires are going to be expanding and growing. There is a little bit of gas break energy because we're also going through a waning moon right after the eclipse. So on one hand, there's a lot of energy being poured into things. On the other hand, there's a lot of energy being poured out of things. It's almost like a cup with a hole at the bottom that is being filled with water, and it's just isn't empty but isn't full, right? That's kind of the energy right now. And you can't really drink because, well, water come from here, water come from there, and you're like, so it's seemingly simple, but it's actually really confusing energy. Please be sure to press the like button, by the way, when you join. The thing that would really help everyone, generally speaking, is communication. Clear, concise communication. Mars is about to conjunct Neptune. It's going to be like people will feel inclined to act, but it's going to be a confusing act. So try to make sure that when you say something, when you do something with the intent of clarifying the situation, that you're not just confusing it further and you are clear with your words. Read what you're about to send and be like, okay, if I wasn't in my head and in my body and in my heart, if I was someone from the outside who deal with their own stuff, is this message clear? Big hello to India. Thank you for joining, Sugandha. I hope I pronounced your well correct. Everyone always make sure that there's a similar or more number of likes than the number of heads in the chat. Okay? Thank you. So yeah, communication, yes, but very clear communication that expresses exactly what you mean. Don't leave room for doubt. Don't be like, oh, they'll understand. They'll read between the lines. This is not a time to expect someone to read between the lines. It's also not a time to expect someone to just guess what you're going through without saying. So it's a very delicate balance of communicating, but with maximum clarity, right? And cover the terrain. Like, don't leave room for interpretation or doubt and be like, oh, the person will get it. No, they're not going to get it. No one is getting it right now. No one is getting it right now. Mercury is also in retrograde. Sorry. No one is getting anything, and everyone is confused. So help the situation by not contributing to the confusion. Again, silence can be very confusing. All over the place communication can be very confusing. Pick and choose your words and like make sure you cover all the aspects of what it is that you're trying to convey. All right. Now, guys, if you're tuning in like at another time from when I'm recording this, a year from now, whatever, if it makes sense to your situation, don't obsess over, oh, but it's different transits right now. It's not the same astrology. It doesn't matter. Let the message hit you where it wants to hit you. If it applies to you, take it. Don't argue with energy that is trying to get to you. If you're here for a reason. All right, now let's move to what's going on with Aries. Oh, I'm sorry. Seekers, cross-watchers dealing with Aries. Show me what's going on with... Guys, you're like a lot of people here and you're not saying hi. Say hi. Say hi and press that like, or I'm not going to do, I'm not, nope. No reading. Press the like button. Yep, condition, absolutely conditional. My love is absolutely conditional, 100% conditional. No unconditional love in this space. It's so abusive. How much joy did that bring you? Unconditional love. So toxic. Don't do that. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for joining. Thank you for saying hello. Yeah. No, I'm going to teach you here reciprocation. Hello, Black Lotus Oracle. Oh, you're a channel member. Thank you for being a channel member and thank you for joining. Reciprocation, balance, give and take. Yeah. You think I'm going to teach you by talk? No, I'm going to teach you by setting an example. I'm going to sit put until there's at least an even amount of likes as there are people here. And I'm feeling you guys. I don't want to imagine you guys. I don't need to imagine you. I don't need that. I'm not living in the fifth dimension. Neither do you. You're like, oh, I'm living in the fifth dimension. No, you're not. You're here. You have a body. Stop. Okay? You're here. Act accordingly. I'm going to teach you by example. Press those thumbs and say hello. Make me feel you. I need to know you exist here. I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to wonder. I'm not going to meditate on telepathy for you. Don't have time for that shit. I'm watching for my Aries Aries, I know so many. One is my daughter. Ooh, being surrounded by Aries, and they're all having Jupiter enter their space now. Oh, they're gonna be, if they're already larger than life, Aries people, right? Now it's gonna be even bigger. They're gonna fill. This is what I call, not what I call, but what I see as elephant in a china shop. Okay. If your Aries is already impatient and is already like, can sometimes be edgy, it's going to grow. Impatient Aries people, oh, they're going to make themselves known. So if your Aries is not talking to you, is not dealing with you, they're busy expanding their energy elsewhere, just so you know. Because Aries are like Aries on steroids right now, super cardinal, inflated, fiery energy. Yeah, an Aries that right now has a passion for something or for someone, they're going to make it known. All right. They don't need me to lecture them to be reciprocating. If they're not reciprocal, if they're not, now here's the thing about it, they will also be way more inclined to enter empty vessels, meaning the more you're aloof and detached, the more they will be all over you. But I don't recommend you to do that as a tactic or as a game, because you don't want someone who's only all over you when you're not, or when you're not interested, or when you're playing hard to get, or when you're actually not interested. Like, I never really understood that mechanism. Oh, I want someone who is indifferent to me. Okay, they're either playing games, why would you want that? Or they actually don't care about you. And if that's something that you want, it shows how insecure you are to really be into someone who's not into you. Does that make sense? So Aries, and Aries, I warned you not to be here, okay? If you're listening to this, that's your responsibility, not mine, okay? So Aries people are going to act like dumbasses. I know everyone is saying that Jupiter is going to be super beneficial for Aries. No, it's going to do the opposite. It's going to make them a bit more arrogant, a bit more vain, a bit more up in their own anus. Sorry. Yeah, good luck. Abandonment issues for those people. I agree. Sometimes that's what it's about. What else? With CROSSWATCHERS for Aries, what else is going on with their Aries? Yeah, so if you notice that when you're cooperative and a team member with them, they're like not taking you as seriously. And then when you pull back, then they're like, and I know some people teach that in the spiritual community, they teach detachment and being cool and all that. That is such toxic bullshit. You're teaching people to play mind games. That's not spiritual. That's like toxic psychology. It works, but it works with delivering someone who's unhealthy and needs a lot of psychological work. And where's the win? Okay, so you get a short-term win. Okay, the person is yours. Okay, but then in the long term, you gotta feed the baby. They are the baby. You know, it's exhausting. So no, I'm not saying codependency and being over leechy. No, I'm not saying that either. Don't be a nag. But healthy interest, expressing yourself, being present, being a team member. Okay, that's good stuff. So if someone is deterred by it, or if it makes them less interested, please meditate on being less interested in them, or lie to yourself for a little bit until it becomes true. Okay, because in the long run, if you'll manage to get your Aries because you're playing games, okay, so you'll have Aries and then your ego is fed, cool, but then your heart is still malnourished because your Aries will need constant management of like, oh no, I can't give them too much. I have to pull back a little bit so my Aries gets, the opportunity to bounce. And it's like, it's so exhausting. Why would you do that to yourself, Super, right? So, oh, I'm gonna take a break because there's still way more people in the chat than there are likes. Okay, I'm not gonna talk. Yeah. Definitely on purpose. If you're here and you have not pressed the like buttons, you are holding back the class. Everyone is waiting on you. Yeah, you're the reason why people are not getting their message. I'm gonna wait. I'm not in a hurry. The bell is not for me. You remember that one? The bell is not for me. I'm not in a hurry. There are 2 people holding back the class right now. Yeah. You want to call it petty? Go ahead, call it petty. I call it math. Math is not petty. Math is math. And by doing what I do, trust me, you'll be happier. I give, you give. I give, you give. We both give. Not like in an accountant way, but like be in tune. Notice the balance, right, in your life and in your relationships or with your Aries. Notice who does more. And then balance the scale. Not in ways of playing games and making them come to you. No, in ways of this is about you. This is not a game that you're playing against someone or in front of someone. This is a practice that you're training with yourself. Okay? The hole in the cup is bigger than how much is poured into the cup. That's not math. That's not balance. I need to regain equilibrium here. So I'm going to not pour as much water, and I'm going to try to fix the hole a little more. Does that make sense? Okay. If anyone wants to do this moderating thing for me and help people who are joining the chat to, to ask them to do what I'm asking them to do, please feel free to do so, guys. Take the lead. Take the leap. Be an Aries. You're dealing with an Aries. Learn a thing or two about being an Aries. Take the leap. King of Wands, you know what this is? This is Aries people saying, I'm here. I'm hearing everything you say. I'm not scared of you. You want to be here? I'm not scared of that. I was just trying to be kind to your feelings. I didn't want to trigger you. But if you want to be here, getting all triggered, being offended by me because I'm throwing shade at you, go ahead, punish yourself. I don't care. I gave you a fair warning. Aries is like, I'm here, I'm listening. I want to know what you tell them about me. I'm telling them everything about you. Everything. I am not holding any of your secrets. And they're going to know everything so that they know how to deal with your ass. Okay, you grabbed enough attention. Now back to seekers dealing with you. What's going on with their Aries? Six of Swords, Seven of Pentacles. They are not feeling satisfied. It doesn't feel enough for them. They feel like what the efforts they've put in are not getting the fruit or the result. They are powing. They think they're being of self-value and self-worth. Oh, what I'm getting is not enough. What they're being is a little bit pampered. They're acting like a pampered brat right now, your Aries. And they're like, oh, I'm not getting what I want to get. But in reality, they're giving less. Okay, so in reality, your Aries is giving less, but because they have such a high, the Aries that you're dealing with has been very used to receiving a whole lot more than they give. They've been accustomed to it. They've been practically indoctrinated into it by other partners that they've dealt with or by their environment, okay? So now that they're giving this and not receiving this much, they're receiving this much, okay? Still way more than they give, but not as much. They're like, how am I not getting everything that I'm supposed to be getting? And they're not counting how much they're giving. Here's the thing about counting how much you're receiving. It helps you not be selfish. It's counterintuitive because when you count how much you receive, it trains the muscle to count how much you give. When you're aware of how much you receive, you become aware of how much you give. Okay, so you're dealing with an Aries who is unaware of how much they have been receiving, and that still, even though they still receive more than they give, they're not. All they see is that they're receiving less relatively. They are still not counting the fact. They're not measuring the fact that they're giving so much less, and so they're disappointed in you, seeker. Your Aries is disappointed in you that you're giving more than them, but not more than them. How dare you? Queen of Cups. And you're so introspective, and you're like trying to see the spiritual, emotional reasons behind it and what they're going through and what they're processing. It's none of that. I'm going to be very, very blunt right now. It's none of that. It's ego, it's will, it's wanting. If they're powing or if they're like acting out a little bit, it's not because of spiritual, emotional processes. No, it's ego. Okay, and I know it's hard for you to understand because you're spiritual and emotional based, which is awesome, but don't project your awesomeness onto others. That's the biggest mistake of awesome people. Awesome people assume that everyone else is awesome like them. If they're being respected, if the only reason that they're not answering a text is because they really, really can't, right? So if someone doesn't reply to them in a timely manner, it's not because they're disrespectful or selfish. No, it's because something is wrong with them. Something may have happened. Does that make sense? I need you to stop giving people the same benefit of the doubt that you're giving yourself, and observe what they do. I know it sucks. It's way easier to know the world by knowing yourself. Unfortunately, that's also a spiritual scam. You don't know the world by knowing yourself. You are an aspect of the world. And so when you know yourself in the world. But you can't truly know yourself in the world if you don't also understand the other, if you don't also know the world outside of you. And that way you can interact with it in a wiser dynamic, right? Because if you assume the person in front of you is you, because I know myself, so I know the world. If you assume the person in front of you thinks and behave and operates from the same places that you think, behave, and operate from, it's a lose situation. It's a losing game. We speak so many different languages, right? You got to learn the other person's language. And right now, you're not aware of your Aries language. You are projecting your awesomeness onto them, your empathy onto them. They're just being like in their own ass. I'm sorry. What's going to happen soon between Aries and CrossWatcher for Aries? 7 of Swords. Bullshit. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to realize that you're an empathic, sweet person that gives the benefit of the doubt. And they're going to swirl a little bit the reality to make it sound really good. But I need you to read between the lines. I need you to listen to the silent parts. Okay? Because people have become masters of saying half-truths, lying, but in a way of it's a half-truth, so then not being accountable for actually lying, not to themselves and not to the world, right? But I want you to notice where they're giving you half a truth. And then I want you to ask, okay, but something is still missing. Okay? And then they're going to be like, oh, I don't like to feel investigated by you. And then you're like, that's deflecting blame at me or trying to make me feel bad about trying to understand and communicate properly. Don't let shit slide. Let this Aries be your practicing narcissism. Hi, Shelly. Channel member, thank you for joining. Yeah, so just, you know what? Look at your Aries as training ground. If they're so dismissive of how awesome you are, make it work for you. Make it be like, okay, this Aries has some narcissistic tendency. I'm not saying that they are a narcissist, right? I'm saying that they have some tendencies that they're a little bit like practicing with you, right? So practice with them on how to deal with, okay, I train martial arts, right? When I encounter someone who really doesn't know what they're doing, but they act like they know what they're doing, or they think they know what they're doing, like they're being all over the place, really not doing anything technically right, but super into them and thinking that, oh, I'm strong and I'm fast. No, you're an idiot. What I do, instead of like trying to teach them because it's useless, because they're not in a place of listening, they're obviously in a place that wants to show off what they know, right? I take it as an opportunity for me to practice facing an opponent that is all over the place, that just swings like an idiot. Okay, because bottom line, that's the actual likelihood of people you're going to deal with if you're, God forbid, in a situation in the street and someone, God forbid, is aggressive with you or worse, violent with you, right? You can't expect them to operate according to the techniques and the rules. They're going to be a thug. So for me, when someone acts like a thug in a training environment, I just treat them like a thug. I don't try to educate them, and I just focus on myself on how to block or protect or counterattack thug-like behavior. You know what I mean? So do that with this Aries. To conclude, Aries, I told you not to be here. Your general reading is below. I love you there much more. Ay, caramba. Okay. Nice. So, conclusion, 9 of Swords and 9 of Wands in the reverse. That's amazing. You are done being anxious, worrying, waiting, trying to think what goes on in their head, what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, why they're doing what they're doing, why they're not doing what they're not doing. You're like, done and be done, right? Okay. That was your reading. I hope it was helpful. Enchanted Map Oracle. So this was the last sign for this batch. I already did, including this, all the signs. If you guys want me to do this again next month, just go back to all the cross-watcher readings, comment what you thought of it, give it a like, share, show me that you love it, because I'm doing this for you. Okay, so if you don't show me that you love it, if you don't show me that you're enjoying this, I will not continue doing this for you. Comprende? Comprende. And by the way, in case you're worried, this is not instead of my regular content. It's on top. It's a gift. Don't freak out from receiving a gift. Enjoy it. Don't be like, oh no, she's taking away the other stuff. I'm not. I'm just giving you more. So feel free to give me more in turn. So demanding. Yeah, so what? I have high expectations of life. What do you want? Oh my God, look at that. We have more likes than people. That's good. Or not good because some people left, but okay. I choose to look at the bright side. Okay. Oracle for all my seekers, please. You're listening. Thank you for the guidance. You like the interaction? I like it too. It's fun. Okay. Moonlight. That's pretty, number 51. Okay, I'm going to read from the book. I started a new series, by the way, called Awkward Spiritual Vlog. There's already the first episode where I build an IKEA bed about a month ago. If you scroll back, you'll see it. And Friday, you have the second episode going to premiere. Friday is going to be 7:30 p.m. Eastern and 10:30 p.m. Pacific. So it will premiere here on YouTube. If you're watching this reading afterwards, it's going to stay on the channel. So feel free to check it out. And I also made a special for my patrons on Patreon for these lunar eclipse, full moon in Scorpio yesterday, alongside, it's called Lunar Spirit. I do that every new and full moon over there, but I also do rune messages for the next couple of weeks. So I did that there. And specifically because it's a special event, a special occasion, this crazy lunar eclipse that we've had, I'm going to share part of that video here on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to post it either tonight or tomorrow. So you're going to get half of that content. If you want the full video, it's already up on Patreon. You saw me in a movie. In which one? In which movie? Which show? I'm also an actress, in case you guys are not familiar. So I've done some stuff. I've been on sets. It was fun. Still am. It's just currently figuring out my path. But yeah, I've been in some stuff. Let me know in which one. You saw me in a movie and that's no description. Which one? Okay, I'll read you. Moonlight. Your intuition allows you to see beyond the mundane, logical and analytical. Follow it. Moonlight beacons. Come and trust your intuition to lead you into places that may not seem logical. Your hunches will be right on target. Resist second-guessing yourself, for your alternative perception is especially sharp right now. You can see beyond the surface of things and truly read between the lines. That was a conversation. This is a good time to use oracle cards or other systems of divination to gain information. Remember that the language of intuition is a symbolic one. It comes subtly through a hunch, a tingling, a clear sound, or an animal or object crossing your path. Spirit is sending you messages to help you now. Success is yours if you follow the signs. On that note, stay magic, stay true. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.